Hello, everyone. Anyways, I'm losing my voice. I'm getting sick. But there's important stuff to be had, important stuff to be told, important stuff to know. Okay? I need to tell you all something. Regardless of my voice, please listen. I'll obviously have to remake this video later at a later date. But I want to get this spoken as soon as possible and heard as soon as possible and understood as soon as possible by this nation of America, Utah, and Cedar City. I need friends, family, and strangers to listen to this. It's very, very important. In the state of Utah, there is a law that most people do not know about unless they have a DCFS case with their local DCFS and police. Okay, there is a law that states that if a father does not know his child or has any interaction with his child, and there's a DCFS case, he has no right to know his child is being adopted out. Okay, adoption is permanent. Adoption is for the rest of the child's life. What this means to me, it's a much bigger issue. It's not just women in domestic violence situations and their children. When they call the cops and get separated from the children, it's not just about these cases. Listen to this. It's also about men that are in rehabs. There are many, many rehabs out there that are year-long and a year and a half. So that means if a man is in rehab and a woman gives birth to his child while he's in rehab, and he doesn't know, hasn't been around his child, because in rehab, you're not allowed to hang out with friends and family. Intensive inpatient rehab, you're not allowed to hang out with friends and family for a year, year and a half for some rehabs in America. Yes, many rehabs are longer term. Now, if they have a woman that gives birth to their child, like I said, and there's and then a DCFS case gets opened with the woman and child for any reason, whether it's false, real, whatever, he has no right to know his child is being adopted out. Now, this is a permanent thing for the 18 years, the rest of that child's life. Now, to me, this is wrong. It's illogical and unreasonable and very, very wrong. People need to know this is going on. You have brothers, cousins, uncles, nephews, grandchildren that this is happening to, and friends that this is happening to, where they have no right to know their child's being adopted out because they've had no interaction with their child yet, because they're in rehab trying to learn to get sober, intensive rehab programs. I do not believe that America, Utah, or Cedar City should be punishing and condemning children or fathers who are pursuing intensive inpatient rehabs. Walking all over their constitutional rights is wrong. It is immoral. It is unethical, illogical, unreasonable. Then you have men that go to jail or prison during their child's first year of life, or any other years, and if they had a woman that gave birth to their child while they're in jail or prison, then according to the Utah laws, they have no right to know their child is being adopted out, because if they've had no interaction with their child and they're in jail or prison, whether it's false accusation or whether it's a real accusation, they're serving their time. They're doing the time for the crime they committed, or they were falsely accused. Men are being separated from their children just because they're serving their time? Or tons of men are falsely accused, just like tons of women are falsely accused. And they're not allowed to know their child or raise their child because they haven't had any interaction with their child yet. Okay? They could get out of jail within the first year, second year, or any other year, or prison. But if they had no interaction with their child, because plenty of people don't even know they have a child. Also, that's the other argument in this world. And it's wrong to walk all over those children and those men. It is wrong. You're condemning people that are doing their time. People that did not flee this country, they're doing their time. You're condemning them and their children. Or you're condemning them and their children when they're falsely accused and they get released and they're not allowed to go raise their child. Like, this is according to the Utah laws. Yes, this is very real. It's happening to men and women and children. It needs to stop, and it's going to stop with me and my son, me and my case. I've already tried to talk to mayors and senators and a lot of high-up leaders of churches, cops, police forces, DCFS agencies. I've gone to a lot of high-end people this past year, but it's a very, very big process. It's hard to get anyone to listen. It's hard to get anyone to comprehend. Not a lot of people are intelligent as me. Not a lot of people are intelligent. Not a lot of people value intelligence. Not a lot of people comprehend. Not a lot of people care. Too much discrimination. It is a hate crime. Yes, this is absolutely discrimination and a hate crime against those children and those men and women in these cases. It is very, very wrong, and it also makes the Mormon church look incredibly bad. Very, very bad when you have missionaries and leaders expecting your missionaries to baptize people in the state of Utah. When you're taking babies and children away from their fathers according to your Utah law. Men that are in rehabs, men that are in jail or prisons, and they get out, and if they had a child that they didn't even know about, or a child they finally want to get to know, and it's too late because there's already an open and closed DCFS case, this is incredibly wrong. Again, America, Utah, and Cedar City is walking all over, not every state, not every city, but the state of Utah, yes, is walking all over children, men, and women. Their rights to know their parents, parents' rights to know their children. You are condemning people that are seeking recovery. And here's another fact for most of you that don't know this. There is a fact that the number one indicator of substance abuse, misuse, is trauma. So you are attacking men that go to rehab, who are seeking help for their life, who are traumatized as children, teenagers, or adults. Number one indicator of substance abuse issues, alcohol or drug use, or prescription pill abuse. Number one indicator in America is trauma. Trauma. And the other statistic that is very important, because a lot of people are pretending children are not affected by foster living, foster parents. When 70 to 80% of prisoners, prison means murderers, assaults, rapists, etc. Prison means drug possession, drug distribution. Prison could mean a DUI. Prison. 70 to 80% of prisoners were a foster child at one time. And there's actually a lot of people that pretend that foster children are not affected. Yes, they are. When 70 to 80% is in prison, that means they're killing your own family members, your own friends, assaulting your friends and family members, raping your friends or family members. And if you really gave a shit about crime in America, you would give a shit about preventing foster children from being in the foster system, which is equals DCFS, because they are treating parents and children as if their parents are dead when they're not dead. In domestic violence situations where they separate their kids, when people are in jail or prisons or rehabs trying to fix their goddamn life, or they are trying to abide the law and do their time, or trying to clean up their life in a rehab, and you're condemning these very people, I believe it's very, very wrong. It is my opinion that is incredibly wrong, immoral, unethical, illogical, unreasonable. You're walking all over their constitutional rights. That only married people are allowed to know their children. That's what this law is saying. You're walking all over people that are not married. This is a hate crime. This is discrimination. You're walking all over people who are trying to abide the law by doing their time. But that also includes all the falsely accused men in jail and prisons. And you're condemning people that are trying to get help for their life in rehabs. Stop condemning. This is a hate crime. This is discrimination against people who are trying to get help because it all stemmed from trauma. Trauma. Do your research. It's all over the internet. I am not talking out of my ass. Anybody can look this research up. It is very, very disturbing what is happening to children in Utah and fathers in Utah and possibly other states and any other state that this is happening in. Laws need to change. People need to be protesting. Yes, people should be protesting this. People should be changing the laws.